Hello everyone. Thank you for subscribing to my YouTube channel. Thank you for learning with us. Thank you for commenting, liking, and sharing your loved ones. From the very first Clash course about File and Home tabs, there are some features that we didn't elaborate deeply simply because they would require a lot of time, and I had to dedicate this time to one of them. Guess what it is? The skill that we are going to cover today is conditional formatting. Like you can do a lot of stuff using conditional formatting to support your data analysis, data interpretation, and so forth, just in a very easy and simple way. So how do we really go about it? Let's say you would like to highlight sales department. You see we have employee name, department, performance score, have performance score, we have attendance, we have salary, bonus eligible or eligibility, we have employment debt, and lastly, contract end date. Let's say this is a company you're working for, and you're supposed to deal with this data, like to show different, maybe employees in a certain department, maybe different um, scores, how people scored, like in their performance, their score, maybe how they attended their week, their salaries, and so forth. So let's go now. Let's start with maybe highlighting some departments among these. Let's highlight, for instance, sales department. There is one way that I'm going to show you, and I will show you many ways that you can do things. You see, I have selected the entire data. I just did Control A. Then I go to home, I go to conditional formatting, I go to highlight cells rules. You see, let me go to equal to. So this equal to, like it says, select or highlight any cell with equivalent to the data that you will be having here. Like let's say you have this number, then it will highlight wherever you have this number. But again, you can also have some words here. Excel will just check entries, be it a number or something else. Excel will just identify that. You can see format cells that are equal to cells with. This is where you select the color you want this any cell with this data to be highlighted in. Now let's choose this yellow with dark yellow text. Okay. Now we click OK. You see, we have cells recorded in yellow. I mean highlighted in yellow. Wherever we have cells, we define it in yellow. Now that we have highlighted, I mean selected the entire data, let's say we have cells here too. See, to automatically change. Let's have cells here too. Same is going to happen. Like anywhere you write the word cells after selecting the entire data and applying the formatting, then whenever you write cells, the same is going to happen. So let's do Ctrl Z. I mean, this shows you that you need to be careful in your data selection because you might need maybe to apply a similar color for different dates here, and we confuse. There will be confusion because of this cells here highlighted in this yellow. So let's do Ctrl Z again. Then I show you how to apply. If you want to apply this setting to admin only, then we will go to department, you highlight the entire column, then you go to home, you go to conditional formatting again, you go to highlight cells rules, then between that is a mistake, then equal to. You can do the same like you did. Then you type cells. You can also here on colors, you can go to custom format and choose many more colors. You see we have font, and you can, if you need to change a color, you come to fill, let's say yellow, a pick color like this, uh, like pattern color doing this. You can also make it bold, for instance, automatically make cells bold and so forth. Then you click OK. OK again. You see cells is already bold and in yellow. Let's say we also need to highlight item maybe. You go to home again. I mean, you select the column where you have your data. You go to home, conditional formatting, highlight cells rules, equal to, or just you can also use that contains text that contains it, for instance. Now let's make it, do we have a green? Yes, let's make it green. Now, okay. Whenever we have it, you will see it like this. I hope you can easily see this exercise. You find it very amazing. That is one way. But there are many more ways of using conditional formatting. See, when you click here, you have greater than, less than, and this is about numbers. Between, you can select numbers between a number and the other. You can also use this to select numbers equal to a certain number, a date, and duplicate values. Let's maybe highlight, you see, let's come here. For names, it will be hard to find duplicates because I have got everyone given their own names. But let's say, for instance, let's come to this employment date and see whether we have some employees employed at the same date. Let's see. We go to conditional formatting. We go to highlight sales rules, then duplicate values. You see, we've got some employees not exactly on the same dates, but you see, this might be a mistake. Why should we have these two dates selected? Why they are not exactly the same? I believe there is some other dates where a certain employee was employed to a date like this, not just the above one. Let's just select, I mean, let's click OK and we verify that. For instance, we can see one who was employed 15th May 2022. This is the one. Let's check whether maybe you can highlight this one and check if we will have another one. Let's check. This is where we've been. 15th May. We, we should actually have one. And of course there is, but our data is too wrong. That's why I'm teaching you this skill for you to easily deal with your data. You can see doing it manually, searching would really be time consuming. That's why you need to stay tuned for any new learning material, because after this there will be more advanced skills that will teach you also to ease your work. Now you see we have the same date. This employee Alicia was employed at the very same date like Tara. Now I hope you can see how this works. Just showing you duplicates. It can also highlight unique. Like you can choose to select unique stuffs, for instance. Now let's do Control Z. That was it. I'm trying to show you different features that you need to elaborate and leverage in your work. Let's again go to, I will now need to use um, performance, performance column. Let's go to home. Let's go to conditional formatting. Now we have greater than. We can choose to select numbers greater than a certain number. For instance, let's say select cells with numbers that are greater than 1995, for instance. And we need to highlight them in light red. Maybe I did a mistake in selecting. It's there. I couldn't know that it was applied. Now you see numbers above 100, I mean above 95, are highlighted in red. I believe you can see that. Let's do Ctrl Z and change the condition and now apply it to numbers greater than 50. Let's say, let's take 60. You see, we have every number highlighted and like formatted into red except numbers below 60. I believe you can see that. You see this is 60, 56 and it's not highlighted, 67, 69. Excel is very exceptional to the extent it cannot make a mistake even to a single number. You see? Great. I Ctrl Z again. Now let's try less than. You can also select and highlight all numbers less than 290, for instance. Let's click OK. You see, Excel is very skilled to the extent they couldn't confuse 91 to a number less than 90. Maybe let's have 89 here, you see. It's automatically done. And you need to be informed that anytime you apply conditional formatting to Excel data, when you change, the changes you made are like they are submissive to the formatting you've applied. For instance, let's apply some conditional formatting here and say highlight numbers greater than 10, for instance, and put them in green. You see, we have none selected because we didn't have some data before doing that. But when you write some data, we simply see that Excel will remember the settings or the formatting you've applied before entering this data. I hope you can see that working out. See? Now we do Control Z again to get rid of this. I just wanted to show you how this works. And I believe you are catching up. Let's again select this data of arrays. Now let's go to formatting again. We are still just here. I believe this is helping us. Let's now go to, I believe, did we check between? Maybe we can check it again. Let's check, like select numbers between 65 up to 90. Now we can again use custom format to choose green. Let's select, highlight this data in green. Click OK. See, any number that is between 60 up to 65 is highlighted in green. Do you find this skill working and helpful too? I believe you do. I don't doubt. I think we've selected from 65. Yes. 65 up to 90. Let's again do Control Z. We are still using this specific column. We go to conditional formatting. Now let's go to top bottom rows. We can maybe select some numbers. Let's say you remember we have top, we have 500 employees data that we are dealing with, and let's say we would like to see the top 100 employees who scored very well. How would you go about it? Conditional formatting is there to help you. Like you will just select the data like we did. Now you go to top bottom rows. Now you go to top 10 items. Just like Excel is set to give you top 10, but you have this option of just editing. You can edit by using this drop down or drop up, or just come and type a certain number here. We need to see 100 employees who scored very well. Now let's uh, give this a yellow color. You see, this one has 191. Like among 500 employees, the top 100 employees include those with 91, 92, 93. But you will see that even those with 89 are not among the list. That means the employees have done a great job to the extent 100 out of 500 employees scored beyond 90. I believe you can see this. Let's do Ctrl Z again. We have a lot of skills to cover from here. You can also highlight a certain number of, like Excel we do an average top 10%. Format says that rank in the top 10. Like Excel we do like average and choose those who are beyond a number you type here. Let's for instance choose 50 and select. Like yellow is automatically select, I mean red has been automatically selected. Didn't have to change. You see, I believe you also find this really working. Again, to conditional formatting, you can also choose bottom items, those who are the least, who performed the least. You can also do this. You can choose maybe to see employees, 50 employees who underperformed compared to others. And maybe let's put them, maybe change lead text. Instead of changing the cell color, now let's change the text color now. You see, we have this 52 simply because we have those who have scored in, up to 100. So these ones with 50 are the ones who underperform. And believe me, a total of 50 scores have been changed into red color as we did. I believe you find this very helpful. You see, all those who scored 50 and above, below maybe 60, are just identified as the top 50 underperformers. Great now. So let's again do Control Z. Let's go to conditional formatting. Let's go to bottom rows. This is the same. We can also choose uh, to highlight individuals who are above average. And you know what? You're not specifically required to calculate this average. Excel will be knowledgeable enough to calculate the average and highlight those scores which are above the average. Let's do it. Let's choose a color. Let's give it a color like this. Now we click OK. We simply see that how can we verify that Excel has given us a very correct response? Because it has highlighted these numbers, but why not 62? Why not 66? We simply need to calculate the average and check whether it's really only numbers above the average have been selected, highlighted. Let's now calculate the average. Let's have our cell just right below the data here. Now, there is a simple way of calculating average. Let's go to home. Let's go to editing. Now let's go to average here, just here. Now click enter. Now you will see that the average is 75. And of course, any number which is below 75 hasn't been selected. You see, we have the average. If imagine that even 75 isn't selected because we said above the average. You can simply see that. And you see numbers above 75 being selected. Great now. Let's now try maybe um, highlighting numbers below the percentage. And I believe you've seen how Excel is very intelligent to quickly select numbers according to the condition you give it. I believe you can see that. Whenever we have yellow, then that means the employee scored below below the average. Do you find this a little helpful? Are you enjoying the course? Please use the comment section to let us know how the course is helping you in your daily duties. I believe this is it. Again, for us who are using performance score, I believe we've done a lot with it. But you also have, we can use this, let's maybe select here and see whether we have something else to cover. Just here, more rules can come on more rules. Format all cells based on their values. For instance, um, format cells only that format only cells that contain. You can choose cell value. You can choose maybe specific text, dates occurring, blanks, no blanks, errors, no errors. Let's say values between, maybe values between, we are now on attendance, let's say 50 and 90. We don't know whether we have these data. This data, I'm just trying to check and see, learn together what Excel will help us with. You see, numbers between our highlighted numbers, we said between 50 and 80. I remember well the formula we gave it. Now you see every number is highlighted accordingly. Like this is the percentage of their attendance at the work. Now you want to know who, maybe let's say the average of acceptable attendance is 60. Now you want to see anyone who will not be selected, and we easily know that they didn't meet the accepted criterion. I believe you can easily understand this. Let's do Control Z. We are going to explore a lot of things from here. Let's again go to conditional formatting. Now we are going to use database. When you hover over like this, you will see that green data bar. Add a colored data bar to represent the value in a cell. The higher the value, the longer the bar. This means you want to use bars to easily analyze your data. And they're telling us, you see, let me just click this. I have added a green bar, and they told us the higher the number, the longer the bar. You see, we have this 72 and it's smaller than 97. This 80 is also smaller than 90. If I edit this number and make it 100, you will see that the cell is full because this is the biggest number. We are talking about percentages, so the biggest number could be 100%. That's why you see this being full. When I make this also 100, you will see that. Let's make one 1,000. You will see that others are quite disappearing because they are being compared to a very bigger number compared to them. So you see, Excel is very helpful. You can also apply this setting somewhere and just fill in data later, and Excel will be doing it automatically. Now let's make this 7,000. Now the other bars seem to have disappeared completely. Only a small line can be visible here, can be seen. I believe you can see that. Let's do Control Z to keep our original data. Also to get rid of the 1,100 that I get there. This is the data we had, and you can see how Excel has dealt with it diligently. Only where we had 100, the column, the bar has filled the cell. You can see this. How do you find this helpful? Again, let's go to Home again, Conditional Formatting, Data Bars. Like this is the same using solid fill or gradient fill. I think the same, like the difference between this solid fill. I want you to check this as I am here. You can see when I click here, let me apply it. Where the bar ends to finish, it's not as blue as it starts, and that is gradient. When this it's ending, the color is diminishing, and the difference on the solid, the color will be as very similar from the start to the end. Instead of disappearing from the end, it will just not be as long as let me apply the other solid option, then you see how different these tend to be. But of course, they play a very similar role. I will apply the same color for you to see the difference. I believe with this, you can see now the difference. Just if the column or the bar ends, it ends, but there is no way kind of the color minimizing simply because they're getting to an end. You can see this here. You can see this here. That is the bigger difference. Let's do Control Z again. Just wanted you to see that. Let's again go to Home. Let's go to Conditional Formatting. We were on bars. I think with bars it could be done unless we can explore more rules. I think we talked about this. Yes, we did. Let's go again to Conditional Formatting. Now color scales. Like apply a color gradient to a range of cells. The color indicates where each cell value falls within that range. Like this will automatically give colors to specific cells depending to their entries. You see, this would be quite hard to interpret because it's not you giving it conditions of how to select data. It's doable, but quite hard for you to interpret, and even the users that you could give it. But of course, we still have more rules. You can also come and give it some formulas or some conditions that you would like it to follow. I, you can format only top or bottom length values. For instance, you see top 10, you can also choose bottom 10. You just have different things that you can apply like we did before. This shouldn't actually take us a lot of time. And you see, I've chosen top 10 to be bottom 10 maybe to be highlighted in yellow, and you can see this. Not sure if I chose 10, but you see I chose bottom, the numbers that are on the bottom to be highlighted. So this is not very much of ideal. But now let's see icon sets. How do icon sets work? You can choose like using stars to rate. You can rate your employees how they attended using stars. Anyone with a maximum attendance, the star will be in the full yellow. Anyone who attended maybe halfly, there will be a half yellow star, half yellow and white star. And those with very low attendance, there will be a very complete white star. I hope you can see that. And of course, believe me, changing a number will also change the look of the star automatically. Changing a number will automatically change the look of the star. I believe you can see that. Now here that we have 50, you can see it's a complete half yellow and a half white star. And this 85 being near to 100 is still yellow, a full yellow. Let's do Control Z. Let's go back to home. Let's go to conditional formatting, icon sets again. You can also use shapes, you can use directional, you can use bars, I mean graphs. You see, I hope you're seeing the changes. You can use these rectangles. Those with 100 will have a full rectangle, I believe. Let's check. You see, this one being close to 100 has a full rectangle. You can see. But those who are away from it, they have not a full blue rectangle. One part of the rectangle is white. Those with 65 have no, like, it's complete no blue. So why this? You see, there is no way to define what numbers to consider for a specific uh, coloring. So you need to select the data. You go to conditional formatting, you go to icon sets, then more rules. That's when you can dictate or explain what you want. Yes, you have icon sets, but you can either change, you can still change them from here. Can change to arrows, for instance. Now these are the values. We will have this one when the value is, let's say, above 80. Now this one when it's above 60, and the other one we specifically select numbers less than 60. Let's change the color. Like this changes the arrow. You can choose something else. Let's use this one. You can combine things, not necessarily because they suggested you them. You can use a star here now. Then here we can use this arrow going down, showing that the performance the attendance hasn't been really satisfying. I hope you can see that applied. I hope you can see this. Uh, are we correct with this one? 75, we said this had to be numbers less than, this had to be for less than 60, if I do remember where the condition that we've set. 80 has to be. What did we have? We had this one maybe. But I think even playing around it will help you to easily understand the task. When greater than. Oh, now let's have 60 here. And let's have this one here and see the change. I will leave this to you to play around it according to the data you would like to have. You can see that it absolutely works. So now let's get rid of it again, and we go again to conditional formatting. I believe uh, with this we would say we do have a lot of stuff to play around, but now we can maybe practice one more on salaries. Let's highlight numbers above average. Let's put them in green just for practice. How about dates? That's what I would like to see now. How can we apply some conditional formatting based on dates? Let's select this employment date. You go to home, go to conditional formatting. Now go to highlight cells rules. A date occurring. Like you can highlight a date that occurred yesterday. You can highlight a date occurring today, tomorrow, in the last 7 days, last week, this week, next week, last month, this month, next month. Let's say next month. Let's say yesterday because this is about the past because they were already employed. Let's do last month and see whether we have any. Let's highlight them in clean and click OK. Let's check. None of our employees has been employed in the last month. Let's try the same to this contract end date and see whether we can have any who was employed the very last month. Let's just again do last month. Let's check if we have, yes, we do have one. You can see this one was employed in the last month. We are now in April, and this one was employed on 26th March 2025. Let's check if we have any other one. Absolutely. We made a lot of employments last year. I mean last month. You see this one with who was employed on the 19th March. Let's do Control Z again. You can also come here and do a date occurring tomorrow. I mean, yes, we are dealing with when the contracts ended. Sorry, I said we made a lot of hiring. Instead, we got many employees, their contracts ending last month. Now here, let's say those whose contracts are ending just tomorrow and see whether we have any of them. Let's use green again. I like green and I hope everyone is going green. Let's check if we've got anyone. Yes. Now, as I work on this video, we are on 13th April. And this one working in sales, his contract his contract is ending on 14th, just tomorrow. So let's say you're a natural person and you're dealing with employees who'd like to know who needs a contract renewal or maybe to be fired, for instance. Maybe their contract is not being renewed. a lot of stuffs. You can use this simply to maybe you have only one. I saw one. This is the only one whose contract is ending tomorrow. Let's again do Control Z and check those whose contract are ending the next month. The next month. Let's do next month. You can also check this month. Let's start with this month. Excel will be very excellent to know all dates that are still in the current month. Now we have this one whose contract will end on the 15th from finance. Shannon from finance. The contract is ending this month 15th. Also, this one whom we saw in sales. I believe some others will be found. See this one on F already finished. The contract ended. Let's do Control Z again. Then the next month. Let's go to next month and see what we will get. Let's use yellow now and click OK. Then we scroll down to see. You see this one, 20th May in administration. Do we have any other? Yes, in administration again. Administration is having a lot of employees with contracts ending in May. Now one in marketing, sales, I mean. This one in administration again. I think you have seen that this is a good skill that you really need to know. You need to use this and leverage that. Let's say, let me show you. I'm going to give you some bonus skills in addition to conditional formatting. You can see I have selected anywhere in the data that I have. Now I go to home, then format as table. I can automatically make this as table, just like this. They're asking where is the data. You can see the selecting line just around all the entire that I have, because I've selected in a cell that has data, and Excel will automatically select until, like, anywhere there is data that will be selected. But if let's say we have data here and we skip this column with no data and we have no data here, Excel will not be able to skip this column unless you select it, unless you come here and edit the end of your data. Now let's click OK. We have our table. You can see these features that we didn't have here. You can now have different features when you click on this drop down here. Something that you also needed, you can select names. You can sort A to Z, for instance, and of course even the entire data will move accordingly. You see we had, let me do Control Z. The very first employee that we have is Thomas Brown. Sales 7372, blah blah. Now let's do sort A to Z and see. We have Aaron Anderson in admin. You see everything changed simply because when you have your data in a table, any change you make automatically changes the entire table. Just sorting in a single column here changed all the stuffs in the entire table up to the contract end date. Something you also need to know. From here, you can also sort by color. For instance, here we have colors. You see sort by color. Sort by color. You see now this with quite blue or green, yes, blue, has come above because that's the setting I've made. Then the other colors we just go below, you see. This for conditional formatting we made are very effective. Now let's also try it here. We have different colors. Let's do sort by color. We have no other colors. Let me try to apply other colors in conditional formatting again. Are we in salaries? Yes. Let's select numbers maybe less than 60,000. Am I correct? I'll do it again. But maybe is it selected? Let me do it. Fine. Less than 565. It's okay. Let me just click this. Now, all I wanted to show you is how you can sort by colors that you have applied. You can sort by colors, and let's start like with this one coming above. You see, Excel is very, very productive when you give it your time. You can arrange your data in a very amazing way. You can also do the same here. I mean, on eligibility of, but of course, there is one issue here, one mistake. I have changed due to the sorting that I've made here. These changes that I'm making are bringing scores and salaries to people who are not the ones who deserve it. For instance, let's do Ctrl Z and see what the first person had. Iron. He had 59, the same. Now the second person had 99. Let's do, and was Aaron Lee. Let's see what happens. Control I, Control Y to redo. Yes, it changed. Now you see, we no longer have the very first person. It's very, very correct. Excel is doing it in ways that fit our sorting, and every person is assigning to the real data they had. Like the last application you do is the one considered, because you see the irony we had is now down. The formulas we applied very first here are playing after the ones we apply later have played their role. I believe that is understandable. So let's again see, you can also filter, but filtering can come later. I will just, you can also filter by cell color. I will have a video dedicated to filtering, equals, does not equal to, begins with, ends with. You can, let's say, begin with S, for instance. You see, filtering is way more different from conditional formatting, because when you filter, it's just choosing what you want to see, and the rest of the data that doesn't meet your criteria will be gone. So there will be a video dedicated to this, as I have promised way before. Do you have any other question about conditional formatting? Did you capture the skills that we've covered? I remain reachable. Please use comment section to suggest us new learning skills you would like to have, or just tell us the challenges you are facing so that we can help you out. Thank you again for your time and subscribing to our YouTube channel.